Our credit rating as a country is not looking good. It was recently downgraded by Moody's. And let's talk about what that's going to do for our audience out there, those receiving Social Security, retirement, survivor benefits, disability, Medicare. Got some good news and some bad news. I guess I'll do the good news first. All right. So just like anything else, if you have bad credit out there, if you go get a car loan, then you're probably going to pay 20, 30% or something. That's crazy. If you've got really good credit, go out there and get 0% interest on a car loan. It's always kind of crazy how that system works like that. If you've got no money, you have to pay more. If you've got a lot of money, you don't have, yeah, it's anyway, but it's a risk type of thing. So the federal government, because of the massive debt and the current legislation in front of Congress, that's going to add 4.5 trillion more into the debt and no attempt to solve it. Moody's said, yeah, you guys aren't a good credit risk, so we are going to downgrade you. So the government is going to have to pay more interest to people when they borrow money from those people. And guess what? They're borrowing money from us, from the Social Security Trust Fund. So right now it's about $2.6 trillion in the Social Security Trust Fund. It's a separate account, but that money, it's not, in a chock full of canned nuts, out in the backyard of the White House. It's actually in treasury bonds. And then the government comes and, borrows that money and they pay it back with interest. And the good thing is now we're going to be able to charge the government more interest when we loan them our Social Security money. They are paying it back, so don't get confused. A lot of people out there say, "Yeah, they're stolen our money." They pay it back. If you're getting a Social Security check right now this month, then probably about 8 to 10% of your Social Security check comes from the trust fund, so it's being paid back every month. So, but everybody around the world, countries, Japan, Canada, UK, Warren Buffett, your 401ks, all those institutions, countries that buy treasury bonds are essentially loaning money to the government. Okay. So, they're paying it back. The government is paying it back unless, the zombie apocalypse happens again and they're not able to pay it back. But as of right now, they're paying it back every month. And now we're going to get a higher interest on that money. So for the regular viewers out there, you know that the trust fund is slowly being depleted because it's going into your checks every single month. And just like every savings, you pull a little bit out every month and eventually it's not going to last forever. So the same thing with Social Security is about 2034, that trust fund ceases to exist. It's all spent. This is the numbers 2034 is based on 2023 numbers from the Social Security trustees. Since then, the Social Security Fairness Act passed, and billions of dollars went out to those people. They're getting about a $6,000 check. About 3 million people are getting anywhere about an average about $6,000 back pay based on the Social Security Trust Fund or the Social Security Fairness Act. So that's bringing that 2034 back about 6 months to a year. So the cuts are going to happen sooner. But now it looks like it's going to return to about 2034 because we're going to get more money from our trust fund interest. But still, the cuts are going to happen. That's regardless. So we're looking at about 2034, about 21% of your check is going to be gone unless something happens. So I guess that's the good news. It extends the solvency of the Social Security Trust Fund by about 6 months or a year or so. So I guess that's good news. The bad news is because higher interest rates, the government has to pay higher interest rates. It's going to cause inflation, and you're going to get a COLA. The Department of Labor doesn't determine what the COLA will be until the first week in October. So all of those people out there doing the social media stuff about the COLA, we don't know until October, the first week in October. But with higher interest rates, that's inflationary, and you've got the tariffs, which is inflationary. So the COLA is going to be really large this time. And again, I've talked about this before. Having a high COLA is not necessarily good. Having a high COLA like we had a few years ago, the 8.7% is bad because that indicates inflation is really, really bad. And COLAs never really keep up with inflation. I've got my new website there, mysocialsecurity.gov. You can go in there and get all your answers to Social Security retirement questions, Medicare questions, survivor benefits, spouse benefits, Medicaid, all the rest of it. But on the retirement section there, I have a question and answer on the bottom. What is COLA? How is it calculated? And how should it be calculated? And a bunch of questions on how it's calculated and all the rest of it. So if you're interested in getting knee deep into COLA and the theories on COLA, then go to the website and check it out there. Anything else on retirement benefits working? You got a nice little calculator there. When to start your Social Security benefits? Nice little calculator there that gives you a kind of an idea. Cost benefit analysis of retiring at one time or another. And so definitely check out that website. It's completely free. So COLA will definitely eat into purchasing power of retirees. And when the credit rating is diminished, then interest rates, as mentioned, becomes more expensive, and then the U.S. debt is going to balloon based on the current resolution that looks like it's going to possibly pass. That's adding trillions of dollars more into the debt, so we can give a majority of that to those that are very, very well off, give a few pennies to the rest of us, but most of it goes to the higher wage earners. So more debt means more cuts in the future. And as we know by the current debate, where do they look to cut? They don't look to cut, giving, the billionaires only 2 yachts instead of, us $2, or whatever the case may be. It's usually Medicaid, Medicare, and eventually they're going to come down to cutting Social Security. But I would argue that that's definitely the third rail of politics. And let's make sure that doesn't happen. Okay, so some good news there, some bad news. Reach out to your politicians as always. If you disagree, if you're good with the $4.5 trillion in debt, and they say, well, but we're going to be saving 1.7 trillion. Yes, 1.7 trillion. And if they save 1.7 trillion in savings, that's still going to get them 4.5. If they don't save 1.7 trillion in savings, then they're going to get 4.5 trillion in debt plus 1.7 trillion. So Elon Musk tried his best for several months to cut back programs, and he was just looking at all the wrong places and pretty much didn't succeed. He said he was going to cut 2 trillion, ended up with 150 billion. But not really. But anyway, he in terms of Social Security, he was always looking at the wrong places in terms of Social Security. Yeah, he just didn't know how Social Security ran, and so he decided to leave. All right, let's get into some questions here. We got a lot of questions. I got a question. Someone sent me a comment on my YouTube channel, and it looks like they're here as well. Looks like here it is right here. So I answered you in the YouTube comments, but I'll answer you here as well. So 70 years old, you're applying online. The application has questions 19, 20, and 21, which ask about income. Not relevant. It's not really dumb. You can answer, truthfully, put it down there, but it's not relevant in terms of the annual earnings limit. So you're probably worried about, hey, if I put my income down there, are they going to reduce my benefit by $1 for every $2 or $1 for every $3 or something like that? No, that's not relevant whatsoever. So you can just put down what your income in. It's not going to reduce your Social Security benefits because you're past your full retirement age. The only reason they really shouldn't even have those questions on there, but one of the reasons they do is, based on your work for last year, giving you a better estimate or something like that. But even then, it's doesn't really apply because once they adjudicate your claim, then it's based on the actual factual proof that they have of what you made last year. So, in terms of what you're truly asking about the annual earnings limit, it's not relevant to you. So put whatever you want. Put whatever you actually earned, but it's not relevant. It's not going to make any difference. Paul asks, Can anyone answer this question? How can a non-US citizen, Elon Musk, be over an American agency known as Doge and fire so many American citizens? He actually became an American citizen now. He was born in South Africa, moved to Canada, um, came from Canada to the United States, eventually became an American citizen. But how he could, get rid of all these people, the Congress only has that power. Not sure. Yeah. So anyway, but that's going to be worked out in the courts. We know that a lot of people, Social Security was already at a 50-year low in terms of staffing, and now it's even worse. So let's see here. I got a response today from Social Security. After turning in the CDR form, the continuing disability form in November, they sent me a letter. No action needs taken in my CDR. No need for Social Security to get documents from doctors at this time. Okay, that's great. At least usually they don't send anything like that, and which freaks a lot of people out. They're just sitting there, on pins and needles and saying, "What's going on with my continuing disability review? What's going on? What's going on?" And they stress it out. It's nice that they actually sent you a letter that says, "Yep, don't worry about it. We'll talk to you in a few years." So that's good. That is very, very good. Pink Owls, welcome everyone. Glad you stopped in today. We are a supportive community. Yes, Pink, I got your email, Pink. I guess you supported us through the coffee link, and so that's not connected to YouTube. That's why your thing is not showing up there. So um, as a supporter through YouTube, but I got you, Pink. I always see you there. You're awesome. We appreciate the support. My son and I appreciate the support. William started Social Security in January in the process of withdrawing the application because overpay. Social Security told me that when I reapply for Social Security, it is a manual process, so I have to do it in the office, not online or phone. Is this right? Trying to think. I've done a few thousand of these. It depends whether they've updated the system. Once you're processed out of the you're probably not going to be able to do it online. Unless they updated the system in the last few months. Yeah, you're probably not going to be able to do it online because your MBR, your master beneficiary record, already exists. It's just withdrawn. So you'll probably have to do it. You can do it over the phone. Yeah, you can do it over the phone or in office. So, but I would try it online. I would, if you want, when you want to refile, just go ahead and apply online. If it kicks you out for whatever reason, then you have to call. So that's what I would do. It might let you through, actually. It might let you through. Because again, your master beneficiary record, which is the actual payment record, that's, it's been established, but it's been kind of canceled out. So it's kind of hanging there. So that's what Elon Musk didn't know is, he was looking at this database over here and he's like, oh, these, tens of millions of, people over 120 years old are receiving Social Security benefits. Well, this record over here doesn't pay money. One penny doesn't come out of that record. You need to look over there. He was looking at the wrong place. So he was on what do they call it? A snipe hunt. And he should have corrected himself and says, oops, I was looking at the wrong place. Sorry, everybody. Sorry, I freaked you all out and told you all those incorrect things. But he didn't come clean, did he? I'm turning 62 in May next year, but I wanted to apply for disability in September this year. Can I do that? Absolutely. You can apply for disability anytime you want. Doesn't matter how old you are. If you're unable to work because of a disability, absolutely. And make sure you check out, again, my new website, go to the disability part there, and then click on the application process. And then it gives you, this is the longest. Usually I don't have this wall of text in these, but to file for disability is a lot of information. So this hopefully will help you out there. And I also did a three-part series on filing for disability. On my new website here, I'm going to be putting little videos in these same sections to make it a little bit easier to follow, but still working on that today. So over the next several months. Let's see. If someone is diagnosed with osteosarcoma, went on SSDI for PTSD, will anything change? If you have a disability and you're receiving disability benefits and then you develop another disability, no, nothing really changes. So It just, when you file your CDR, if you get a CDR, a continuing disability review, you make sure you add that new information in there. So, can I give my Social Security benefits to my adult son that has a disability when I pass? Well, you can give or can't give or, put your disability benefits in a will or anything like that. But if you have an adult son that became disabled before the age of 22 years old, then absolutely it's called disabled adult child benefits. And I've got a section on there. Let's see here. Get to my disability. The disabled adult child appeals process. Let's see here on the family benefit. Okay, yeah, here we go. Child benefits right there. So it talks about the disabled adult child benefit. So you can go in there and check that out. But yeah, so he will have to file for benefits as a disabled adult child that he became disabled before the age of 22 on your record. And then they'll have to check out his doctors and clinics and medical records to determine whether he became disabled before the age of 22. I have two extra. I have two extra husbands. Okay, not at the same time, I hope, unless you're in Utah or parts of Arizona. I have two extra husbands. Can I collect from the first husband, even though I collect, and looks like it stops there? You can collect on any prior husband if you were married to that person for 10 years or longer. So if you were receiving benefits on the second husband and then the first husband, you're now eligible for benefits on that record and it's higher, then you can switch. Yeah. So you're always, Social Security always puts you on the record that's the highest. Does it make any reasonable sense? Okay, I'm going to stop you right there. We're talking about the government. So you're asking about a question about the government, and that's how you start off. All right, let's see what we got here. Any sense for a person coming into the U.S. legally at 65 to work until 75 for 40 credits and then draw Social Security benefits, asking for a friend? Yeah, I mean, if you don't pay the 10 years, then you're not going to get Social Security. So yeah, if that's what they want to do, absolutely. There are people that do that. Able to work, you get some money in the meantime, and you're paying into Social Security. Once you get your 10 years, then you're eligible for Social Security as long as U.S. citizen. You keep your legal status in the United States. Contrary to popular demand or popular internet myth, if you're in this country illegally, you don't get Social Security. Yeah. So, why do we pay taxes on Social Security if Social Security is a tax? Yes, that started in the 1980s. And under the current budget resolution, that ain't in there. So that was a promise on the campaign trail to end taxes on Social Security benefits, but ain't there nowhere. So let's see. Wasn't a credit risk at 36 trillion, but they are a credit risk at 37 trillion. Sounds like kind of a silly to me. Yeah, what they argued was that if we just like anything else, if we address the issue, then over the next, okay, we've got something to address this issue and we're going to start reducing it. But once we decided as a country that we're not going to address it, that we're even actually going to trillions of dollars of more debt, then Moody's said, okay, well, it doesn't look like you're even going to address your problem. So that's why they downgraded it. Let's see here. No thanks to this new administration not doing their job for the American people. We're, like they say, screwed because of the massive greed. Yeah, they throw a few pennies to the rest of us, but the tax cuts. There's 50% of people on retirement benefits don't even pay taxes because they low amount, and so yeah, it's not going to affect them. You're not going to get a tax cut if you don't pay taxes. So, how penalized is my husband for Medicare being caretaker for me on SSDI? Penalized for my husband for Medicare. Yeah, Medicare doesn't penalize you for being a caretaker for anybody on SSDI. Yep, no relevance whatsoever for Medicare. Medicaid, maybe you mean Medicaid. If your husband is a caretaker for you because you're on disability, there are some states that pay a family member to take care of a disabled or elderly family member. And if that's the case, if your husband is receiving money to take care of you, then that will affect your Medicaid, because Medicaid is a income resource based program. So, but in terms of Medicare, no, not at all. Let's see, Laura. I work full time and first took Social Security at age 70. Does every year currently work now replace one of my dud 35 years, effectively raising my Social Security payments? Thank you. It could. If it is in fact one of your high 35 years, last year was one of your high 35 years, then absolutely. It's all 100% automatic. What happens is once you, the IRS, your employer, notifies Social Security how much you made the previous year, the computer system at Social Security looks at it and says, hey, is this one of Laura's high 35 years? Yep, it is. They kick out the low one and they stick in the new one and they recalculate, and you will get a benefit increase. Usually it takes a little bit of time. So, because you have to file your taxes and Social Security has to be notified and all that kind of good stuff. So let's say it happens in July and they say, hey, based on your earnings from last year, we're going to increase your benefit from $10 to $10 more every month. And they will pay you back effective January. So a lot of people around this time, get an extra, 10, 20, 50, $100 in their check. And they're like, where'd this come from? That's where it comes from. So let's see. What happens to my SSI when I retire in 10 years? Will it be there for me, Dr. Ed? SSI is the welfare-based program, and so that comes out of general taxation. And as long as they're willing to, put in SSI. So, but you don't mean SSI, you mean Social Security. SSI is the welfare-based program. So hopefully we will always take care of the most vulnerable, but that's a whole different issue. You're asking about Social Security. Will it be there? Yes. Social Security. So this is a common point of confusion that people mess up on. Yeah, and politicians love playing this game. That they say, well, it's going broke and Social Security is going insolvent and it's not going to be there, yada, yada, yada. No, Social Security will be here for hundreds of more years, as long as we don't decide to, give it over to Wall Street and the billionaires at Wall Street. But if we decide to keep it as it currently is, a Social Security Administration, it will be around for hundreds of years. The issue is how much your check is going to be cut. Because of right now, again, we've got this much coming in every month. We got that much going out. So just like anything else, got less coming in, more going out. You're gonna have to cut something. But right now, we're not having to cut checks. We're not having to reduce your checks because we've got the Social Security Trust Fund. We're pulling money out of the Social Security Trust Fund. But that savings, that trust fund, doesn't last forever. In 2034, that's going to disappear. There's no more money. That's what's going to disappear, is the Social Security Trust Fund. But your Social Security checks is still going to come. It's just going to be 20% less or 22% less or maybe 33% less. So that's the issue. So it will be there. Yes, our money, our Social Security will be there for decades and decades and decades to come. But are you able to handle only getting 80% of it, 70% of it? I know a lot of people aren't. They can't take a 10, 20% cut. Yeah. The trust fund was used for the Iraqi war by George Bush. We need to pursue a repayment of the government. No, that is 100% incorrect. The trust fund is still there, fully accounted for. It wasn't stolen. It wasn't given to this country or that country. So it's, every year. This is 2023 numbers. The numbers for 2024 haven't come out yet, but in 2023, about 1.1 trillion came in through FICA and also from taxes on Social Security benefits and the interest, which the interest is going to increase. But 1.2 trillion was paid out, and the difference comes from the trust fund. So the trust fund, it's there. So politicians use that whole thing. The Social Security trust fund was stolen. It was given to Iraq. It was given to, yada, yada, yada. And they use, and I'm going to go find it. And then they never get back to you, right? Because it's not lost. It's there. That's why in my little diagram there, my little graphic, Um, on the bottom, I put donation, because people that think the Social Security is just fake money or monopoly money, and this is an argument going back to 1937. Yeah, as soon as Social Security Trust Fund was started in 1937, politicians said it's all fake money, it's all monopoly money and stuff. Yeah, so those people that think the trust fund is actually empty, it's gone, it was stolen, it was given to this country, it's all fake money, then take 10% of your Social Security check because that's fake money. It's not real money. Give it to your local animal shelter or something like that. So if it's not real money, other people will think it's real money. So there's that. Nobody's ever taken me up on that offer. That's it. Moody's said cutting expenditures can't solve issues. Ink in revenues only weighed increased tax rich, don't lower income tax. Yeah, we can't get a million loan with 10,000 a year income with even no debt. Yeah, I mean, Elon Musk, his big focus, because one of the largest parts of the budget, even though it's not part of the budget, is Social Security. And he went in there and, he said it's the greatest fraud and, it's a Ponzi scheme. And he went in there and he found zero fraud. And so, yeah, I think he found like $50,000 of waste in one particular administrative law judge office. We weren't using that much. He closed that down. So I think he saved $50,000 in Social Security. So, yeah. Receiving VA benefits. Next month, I will start with survivor benefits. Will Social Security benefits be considered my income? VA benefits are non-taxable and vice versa. Thank you. Yeah, so tax type stuff, I don't help with tax type stuff. But in terms of Social Security survivor benefits, it has no relevance to VA benefits. So yeah, Social Security benefits, VA benefits are completely separate. So Social Security is my money, not theirs to touch. I agree. Higher COLA equals higher Medicare Part B premium. Yeah, yes, still lose. My prescription cost tripled this year thanks to Biden's Inflation Reduction Act. Um, yeah. Actually, one of the reasons is because they lowered the max out of pocket. It was what, $8,000, and they lowered to $2,000. And in response, prescription drug companies, the insurance companies decided to, screw everybody else because they wanted to make, the shifting the profits. But if you're having a hard time paying for a prescription, understand that with the Inflation Reduction Act, the max you can pay out of pocket in a year is $2,000. It used to be $8,000. Now it's $2,000. So that's a big help for a lot of people. But a lot of people say, well, that's fine, but I meet my $2,000 deductible, the first month. Part of the Inflation Reduction Act is a thing called smoothing. So if you or someone are having a hard time paying for the prescription drugs, number one is apply for the extra help with prescription drugs. You apply that through the Social Security Administration. And then if even after that, you have, a big bill in January, call your insurance company that does your prescription drugs, your Medicare Advantage or your prescription drug program, Medicare Part D, and say, smooth me. And what it is, instead of paying the $2,000 in January, they'll divide it by 12 months and you'll pay a little bit every month. So that helps a lot of people out. So we should get together and demand better service for the use of our funds. Yes, I agree. Yeah. Let's see here. Reach out to your politicians, right? When I file for Social Security at 65, will they inform me a pension or deferred vested benefit I may have had at a job 40 years ago? Yes. And I could never figure out how they got that information and how it pops up sometimes. But yeah, I've taken hundreds of thousands of retirement claims, and every now and then an alert will come back that says, hey, Rich here has a carpentry pension plan from Chicago in the 1970s they might be eligible for. So yeah, sometimes I'm not sure how all that worked internally behind the scenes, but yeah, and I would say, hey, were you a carpenter in the 1970s? Yeah, in Chicago? Yeah. Well, you need to contact them because you might have a pension from them. Yes, it does happen. It does happen. I tried to figure it out one time, but I got too much in the weeds. I think I think one of the things I thought is, sometimes when those pension funds, they can't pay it, they ask for the government to help them out and stuff because the CEO took all the money and took off to the Bermudas or something. And I think as part of that, that's when they notify. Yeah. So I think it was something along those lines, but I can never really figure it out 100% for sure. But it does exist, and that's a beautiful thing. So gift horse in the mouth type thing, right? I really got a question here. Can one still keep their job insurance and get Medicare? Yeah, some people do that. Some people get Medicare Part A because that's zero premium. Um, you'll just run into the whole first payer, second payer, and stuff like that. So, but it may be good. Sometimes it is good. Often it is good to keep your Medicare Part A, but not the Part B because that costs you $185. But you know, you need to call your insurance company at work and see how Medicare works and see if it does make a difference. And make sure you differentiate there. It says, okay, don't just say Medicare. Say, okay, should Medicare Part A? Should I sign up for that? And is there a benefit? Oh, there is a benefit because there's a lower deductible for hospital. If you go to the hospital for Medicare Part A, that's usually how that happens. But then they'll say, okay, what about Part B? Should I pay the $185 for that? And then yeah, they should go over that with you. So, or you can reach out to Chapter there, and they can give you some ideas as well. My husband applied April 8th for Social Security. He's 64. It still says processing 2 of 3. He was expecting to check in June. He retires May 31st. They say they don't know when his application will be done. I got mine fast. Yeah, that was Doge going in there and making a bunch of changes and then realizing there's not much fraud. Out of the 110,000 cases they reviewed, they found 2 potentially that may have a high risk for fraud. So they were delaying payments because of that. And Social Security told them, yeah, in that particular program, that how we do it, very, 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 very little. And they didn't believe it. But now they believe it. So, but long story short, yeah, claims recently have really, really slowed down because of that. But they've changed their mind. They just announced yesterday, the day before yesterday, that, okay, all right, we were looking in the wrong place again. And they're fixing that. So hopefully it'll come out a little bit quicker. But still, regardless of that, Social Security is at a 50-year low in terms of staffing. Those are people that are there to help you. They're not there anymore. And since Doge took over Social Security, thousands and thousands of more have left or been pushed out or voluntold to get out. So you say the government paying anything back. Yeah, Congress is a fraudulent entity and they take from the people. COLA is a joke. Please, may I have more for Oliver the Move? Okay. So yeah, COLA, I agree. I don't think it should be, if you read my website there, it's based on the CPIW. I think it should be based on the CPIE for elderly. So yeah, I think COLA, but COLA is not political in the way it's calculated in the current process. That was taken out of political consideration. So people always say, oh, the previous administration, they were awesome. They gave us 8.7. That has nothing to do with whoever's in office. That's an automatic calculation done by the Department of Labor. So, but yeah, the trust fund is being paid back. So, let's see here. Oh, and Merlin became a member, silver member. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Someone asks, if you don't get Part B at the right time, you could pay higher premiums permanently. That is a fact. If you don't get Medicare Part B and Part D, the prescription drug plan, at the right time, and if you're 65 or you just lose your health insurance or something, if you don't get it when you're supposed to, yes, you will pay a higher premium for the rest of your life. In terms of Part B, it's 10% for every 12 months you did not sign up for it when you were supposed to sign up for it. Part D, it's 1% for every month you didn't sign up for it. What's the 1%? It's 1% of an average calculation. It's like $30 a month or something. So it's a weird way they calculate it, but that's, yes. So you have to make sure, yeah. Every time I watch you, Ed, I get down because so much negativity. Maybe one show, just be positive, please. I was positive. I think what the one I did yesterday, I forget what I did yesterday. Positive is help people get family benefits. And so, yeah. So, but I agree. Yes, I agree with you. There's so much negative news out there, and because so much bad stuff is happening, I'm just reporting it. We want people to take action and reach out to their politicians, because if we just sit by right now with our sitting on our hands, then 6 months from now, when our corporate overlords make all their decisions for us, then you know there's no use in reporting it because it's already done. So, but I agree. Yeah, I wish. Yeah. So, retiring and need to sign up for Medicare Part B only. Will also sign up for a supplemental plan through my union. Am I required to sign up for Part D if the supplemental includes drug coverage? As we used to say in the Marine Corps, you don't have to do anything in life. But if you don't, the repercussions are, if you don't sign up for a Part D plan because you have it through your union, but if you have a supplemental plan, if it's if it's a, what do you mean by a supplemental plan? Is it a Medicare Advantage plan? If it's a Medicare Advantage plan through your union, then Part D is already wrapped up in there. But if it's actually a supplemental plan, like a Plan G or a Plan N, then it doesn't have prescription drug coverage, and don't have to sign up if you don't want to. But if something happens in the future and you need it, then you're going to get penalized for the rest of your life, and you're not going to be able to sign up for it until January, February, or March. So during the general enrollment period. Let's see here. My husband applied. Okay, I already answered that one. I will go over the 23,400 this year. I'm 63. How do I pay the overage back? So you're going to go over 23,400 this year. So next year, when Social Security gets that word, they will send you a nastygram that says, "Hey, you have to pay back X amount of money." And then go onto my website there, and I am working on. So right now it's retirement, disability, survivor, Medicare, and I'm also working on a whole bunch of other stuff: protective filing, appeals, living overseas, and stuff like that. But I just finished one section. And that one section is overpayments. So, and the overpayment policy has changed 3 times. Again, people in charge of Social Security and the Doge in charge of Social Security doesn't know what they're doing. So they've changed that policy 3 times in the last month or two. Yeah. So, but yeah. So you have options. You have 4 different options, and it gives you all of the details. Oh, I need to correct that. Put a space there. But anyway. Need to put a space there. So, all right, this just went live today, this section on overpayments. So, yeah, so you just check that out, and when you get your overpayment next year, you just pick one of these 4 options, and by then I will put that space in there and correct the grammar. So there's that. But as of right, what you can do right now, if you're going to go considerably over and you don't want that overpayment and you don't want to deal with those issues, then you just call Social Security and say, "Hey, I'm going to make $40,000, $50,000, $60,000, and they will suspend your benefits for the required amount of time, so you don't get overpaid." So, Dr. Weir speaks reality and truth, which leads to positive change. I like that spin. Yes, I talk about the negative to get to the positive. Yes, thank you, thank you. But I should talk about the negative a little bit less. I agree. But yeah, the ultimate goal is to make it positive by bringing yes. So thank you for that. I appreciate that. Okay, I already answered that one. Let's see. What's up, Take and Took? I'm currently receiving SSDI. I'll be receiving Medicare in August. How soon does my Advantage plan begin? Well, it doesn't begin automatically. Although Dr. Oz, who's in charge of CMS, the Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services, he's always wanted Medicare Advantage to be the default option. So not sure whether he's working on that now. But yeah, if you're on SSDI, you'll start your Medicare after 24 months. So you're going to start your Medicare in August. So I would start kicking around your options now. If you're on SSDI, you probably can't get a Medicare supplement plan, depending on what state you're in, which are the ones I always say check out first. They're not for everybody, but at least, evaluate your options. But being on Medicare under 65, in most states, you can't get a Medicare supplement plan. So you'll have to check out a Medicare Advantage plan. So you just get the best one that's for you. Check out your, physicians, your prescriptions, and all your other needs there. So you can reach out to Chapter. You can reach out to Chapter anytime, and start kicking around your options, and they'll tell you what's available for you starting August, and tell you what you need, and get all your prescriptions, and they'll find the best plan for you, all 100% free. That's a beautiful thing. And the great thing about them is that's why my son and I chose them to help you all out with these, is because they have a member success team. They're about the only ones out there that have a really, really good team, that if you enroll with them, they help you do everything, pick a plan, help you enroll and everything. And then next year, if you have some type of issue, you get some type of weird bill, or you have a question, or you need to find a new doctor, they have a team that helps you out, which is very, very unusual. A lot of the places out there, once you enroll with them, they forget about you. So, Roseanne, I took 12% taxes out of my Social Security because I have a pension that's taxed. I didn't know how much to take out of my Social Security. I get 24,000 a year. I'm close to 25,000. Yeah, nobody can really tell you that except for your accountant, that knows more of the details, but you can play around with it. You got 7%, 12%, 25%, whatever the case may be, on that little W-4V, the voluntary withholding. What most people do when I've taken the millions of retirement claims, they ask me how much, I should. I say, well, it's, got to talk to your thing, but you can adjust it every year. So you do 12% this year, and then when it comes tax time next year, you'll say, oh, I held too much. Let me bring it down to 7%. Oh, I didn't hold enough. So bring it up to 22%. I think those are the numbers. 7, 15, and 22 are the choices you get. But you can change that anytime. So if you say, oh, I want less, call them up right now. They just changed it. Before, you actually had to fill out that little slip, the W-4V. But now you can actually do it by calling the 1-800 or your local office, and they can actually do it over the phone now. That's a change. So I called the 800 number for my BPQEY and got the call back when it said 90 minutes and help was good. Okay, good. Yeah. So your benefit query there. Perfect. So you got your query, and so they helped you out. That's awesome. Good deal. Good deal. The only ones that can save us now is the courts of the land and Supreme Court. Let's see here. But yeah, if Congress passes it, then, if it's not unconstitutional, then yeah. Question. My wife divorced me years ago. We were married for over 10 years. Can she claim half of my benefits SSDI? Yeah. It's not going to affect your benefits at all, but she can. If she's 62 years old, she was married to you 10 years and all that kind of stuff, she's not currently married, and her benefit amount is less than half. And yeah, if all of those things she jumps over all those hoops, then yes, she will be able to collect up to 50% of your benefit amount, but you won't even know, because it doesn't affect your benefits at all. So I was out on SSDI, got a workers' comp settlement while I still got my Social Security paycheck. Okay, that is a long one. Let me go, because I get that question quite often. So guess what? I put it in where did I put it? Benefit calculation. Workers' comp. Okay, there we go. Yeah, I put a big look at all the answers. So this is, do workers' comp reduce my disability benefits? And here are all the subcategories that I put in there. So this is, yeah. I spent quite a bit of time on the workers' comp one. But long story short, if it's a workers' comp, an actual workers' comp or public disability benefits, yes, it will affect your Social Security disability benefits. So for all the gory details, check out my website again, mygovexpert.com, and then click on disability up there, and then click on the benefit calculation tab. So they've all got little different tabs there. Click on the benefit calculation tab, and then click on workers' comp. And it'll give you all of that, and you just pick which question you have, and it should answer your question. Like I said, in the future, I'll put like a little video right there And it'll be me kind of going over the kind of the general details of it. So, but for right now, it's unfortunately it's a wall of text, but hopefully it answers all your questions. And then on the front page of the website, let me pop that up again. Sorry, TikTok. It's TikTok doesn't let me do all the stuff on TikTok. So anyway, on the front page of the website, if you have any feedback, you can click on that little button there and says, "Hey Ed, I really didn't. You did a terrible job explaining this part of the workers' comp, or whatever the case may be. Let me know if you see anything that's typo or grammatical dangling participle or split infinitive, whatever the case may be. Let me know and I'll correct it." Um, and if you want to subscribe to the newsletter, the subscribe button is working today. Yay. And if you want to help out, throw a couple of bucks our way for me and my son so we can keep doing this, or support one of our sponsors that help us out, then that would be awesome too. We super appreciate it. But all of the resources, all the calculators and everything on this website is 100% free. But if you want to support us, that would be awesome. So let's see here. Mary, thank you for your service. You retired and continue to help us make our way through the maze that is Social Security. Thank you. I appreciate it. Beck, this is a lazy question because I haven't really looked into it, but my daughter has MS. Is it difficult to get SSDI for MS? Thanks. I'm sure you've gone through the whole MS thing and, getting diagnosis for MS and everything. There's no, blood test or X-ray or MRI that could really discern that now. Hopefully something comes soon, but yeah, that's one of those ones that's a little bit more difficult. But 100% file for if she's unable to work. I'm not sure how old she is. But if let's say you're receiving retirement benefits on your own record or disability benefits, and that's a child that's under the 18 or became disabled before the age of 22, definitely 100% file for disability benefits. Yes, please. Encyclopedia Ed. Oh, those are one of my favorite books when I was a kid. Encyclopedia Brown. Who remembers Encyclopedia Brown, where the smart kid used to go around there and solve everybody's problems and stuff? And yeah. Am I the only ones that read those books? Anyway. Okay. Thank you. Spending part of my birthday here with you today in Ed's chat. Lisa, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. If it wasn't copyrighted, I would have played the Beatles version of the birthday song. Yeah. I am switching. Oh, okay. I already answered that one. Switching over. Okay. But yeah, this is the one that had a question that also sent me an email about the application and the questions in the application. But awesome for you for doing the right thing here. There's so many people walking around there that have extra money just on the table that they don't know is there. And so what Viha is doing is he or she's been receiving survivor benefits and didn't touch benefits on his or her own record. And those benefits on your own record continue to increase. And now at 70, this person is very, very smart and says, "Nope, now I'm going to switch from survivor benefits to the benefits on my own record." And there's a lot of people that forget to do that, don't know they can do that, and they've lost money. So you're doing a good thing. All right. All of our scientists are leaving the country. We're going to fall so far behind the rest of the world. Yeah, they're really giving it to education, aren't they? Higher education and stuff. And there's a lot of the inventions, that we got in this country over the last several decades were people that, come from overseas. The best and the brightest came from overseas, went to American colleges and universities, and then they loved it because we're awesome people. And they realized, hey, Americans aren't as terrible as they portrayed on the news. I've heard this many, many times, being a university professor for a few decades. So they say, hey, America's pretty awesome. I want to stay. I don't want to go back to my own country. And they stay here and they invent stuff. And that's definitely going to be reduced here in the future because of, My husband applied for 8 Social Security. He's 64 and still okay, I already answered that one. Okay, I already answered that one about a pension. I collect as a survivor. When I look on the website, it shows my work record. Can I see my deceased husband's work record? Not online. You would have to request that separately. And sometimes Social Security is kind of hesitant to give that information, but if you demand it, they should be able to give it to you. So, taxes on Social Security benefits started under Reagan. Yeah, under the Greenspan Commission back in the 1980s. That's when they raised the retirement age and started taxing Social Security and all the rest of it. Yep, yep. Let's see here. Mary, what's up, Mary? How long before I turn 70 do I need to apply for my benefits, including my delayed retirement credits? About 3 months before. About 3 months before you turn 70. The month you turn 70 is when your delayed retirement credits stop accumulating. So you want to make sure you start your benefits at the month you turn 70. So about 3 or 4 months before then you can go ahead and file. Number one thing is to make sure your earnings record is correct. Go into Social Security, set up a My Social Security account, and then confirm that your earnings record is correct, because that's how they're going to determine. So tornado victims are getting nothing from this administration. Yeah, that's yeah, those, surprised it didn't hit me. My family lost everything during Hurricane Andrew in southern Florida. Homestead, my town, when I eventually moved to Paris, Texas, that was destroyed in a tornado back in 1981. Yeah, so I'm a magnet. So, but yeah, hopefully, so those, anytime you have a situation like that, we need to reach out to those people and say, hey, you're working, but the place you're working was destroyed, so you're going to be out of work. So you tell them, hey, you've got Social Security benefits and that are available to you. You've got disability benefits if you were hurt in the tornado. You can start on your Medicare if you're 65. If you're disabled, you can file for the disability benefits and retirement benefits and get your Medicare earlier, possibly. So yeah, we definitely need to reach out to people like that are in need. If the government isn't, we are the government, supposed to be anyway. But if they're unwilling to do it, then we have to do it ourselves. Because I only had 24 credits, I applied in March under my husband's 40 plus credits. Good, good. He got Social Security last March. I'm 67 and a retired educator. Good, yes. So, okay, so you were under a non-covered entity, it sounds like. So you worked at probably Texas teachers that didn't pay into Social Security. So that's why you only have 24 credits. But now there is no government pension offset. There is no windfall elimination provision or anything like that. So it doesn't affect you whatsoever. So I can collect on my wife SSDI benefit. She is 55. I'm 63, currently receiving my own benefit. Yeah, if you got someone receiving disability benefits, current spouse, and you're at least 62 years old, yeah, I would definitely check out, see if the numbers work, and to see if you're eligible for benefits on that person's record. They just need to be receiving retirement benefits or disability benefits. That's another thing people miss. So. What is the qualified credit for SDI? Social Security, I qualify for Social Security, but not SSDI. Okay, so what you're probably talking about is what's called the difference between insured and currently insured. So I have that on my website. So you go into the disability part and you go into eligibility, and what's the difference between insured and currently insured. Um, uh, that's a terrible explanation. I need to work on that explanation, make it a little bit better. But okay, so no, it's missing a bunch of stuff. Okay, yeah, it's missing the rest of it. So all right, currently insured. Let me make a note of this here. Okay, sorry about that. So basically, what it is, so you're insured for disability benefits, retirement benefits, because you paid your 10 years. Social Security disability also has, you have to be currently insured. And this is by Congress passed this, and basically the best way to think of it, this idea. you have to be insured. You had to pay into Social Security any five out of the last 10 years. And so Congress has said, let's say you've got someone that paid into Social Security in their 20s and 30s, and they made a whole bunch of money, and then they, went on vacation for the next 40 years, and then or 30 years, and then when they turn 50 or 59 or whatever, they go ahead and file for disability benefits, and they say, I'm not able to work. And Social Security says, okay, you did pay into Social Security, so you're insured, but you're not able to work. You haven't worked in like 30 years. So no, you're not currently insured. So you're filing for disability benefits because you're losing your income because of your disability, but you don't have any income for the last 5 of the 10 years. So it sounds like you are not currently insured. That is the situation with that. So you're insured, but you're not currently insured. And that's only for Social Security disability insurance. That has nothing to do with retirement benefits, survivor benefits, SSI, or anything like that. So let's see. Truth Central. Well, I lost my full retirement by 3 months. I'm going in there at the end of the week. I'm tired of this corruption. I'm going to fight. Yeah, you have appeal rights, 100%. So I'm going to make a separate section on the appeals, but there's an appeals process in several parts in the application on my website. So the appeals process is the first one is a reconsideration, then you get a hearing, the appeals council, federal court. And so it tells you all the details. So I'm working on the more section there. I'm going to do a separate section on appeals, but I'm working on that now. So. Let's see. Pam, I was told last week that for a few years they collected Social Security funds but didn't put it in the trust fund. What do you know? Yeah, no, that's incorrect. Sounds like a politician trying to, distract you. It's like, hey, Social Security is being cut in the future. Oh, it was given, it was stolen. I'm looking for it. I got my magnifying glass and I'm looking for those $2.6 trillion. And you never hear back from them because, they know it wasn't stolen. So. Let's see. Helen. I don't think I've seen Helen here before. Welcome, Helen. On surviving spouse Social Security, late husband received a pension. Talked to Social Security today and was told I would not get the fairness increase because that was adjusted when he passed. Is that correct? It depends what type of pension. It was adjusted when he passed. Yeah, that doesn't make sense. So it was adjusted when he passed. So that means he was receiving a non-covered pension and they wept his pension. Okay, that's fine. They adjusted it when he passed. Okay, that was in the past when he passed. And now they're saying you don't get the Fairness Act, but if they adjusted it based on the WEP, the Social Security Fairness Act, that's what the Social Security Fairness Act does. It deletes that adjustment, that WEP adjustment. So yeah, that doesn't make sense the way they put it. I think what happened is you talk to someone at the front window, and the people at the front window are called customer service representatives, and they're generalists. They're the lowest paid, hardest working people in Social Security, but they're generalists. They have to know a little bit about everything. And you need to talk to a T2CS. Before I ran the office, I was a Title II CS, Title II of the Social Security Act, which did this type of stuff. So you just need to talk to someone else that knows about it, and they'll tell you. So, but yeah, what you wrote there, what that person told you doesn't make logical sense. So, what is the difference between survivor benefits and widow benefits? Same thing. Yeah. Social Security calls it survivor benefits because it goes into widow, widower, child benefits, disabled adult child benefits. So they call it survivor benefits. So that's why on my website, that is a completely different section, survivor benefits. So survivor is surviving divorced spouse, child benefits, disabled adult child, even parents. And parents can get, one of the unknown programs that Social Security has. So we Americans need Franklin Delano Roosevelt, New Deal. Wealthy people pay 70% taxes. Today, wealthy people pay pretty much zero taxes. Yeah. And the roaring 1950s under Eisenhower, the top tax rate was like 90%. And, we were doing very, very well then. Economically, at least for a lot of people. All right. I already know Biden, Obama, and Congress have stolen trillions of dollars. Why put it on social? And then I get comments saying I put too many comments on there. Yeah. Again, it stole whatever, but not the Social Security Trust Fund. The Social Security Trust Fund, all you have to do is look at the Social Security Trustees report. In my YouTube description, it has the Social Security Trustees report in there, full transparency, full disclosure, and it tells you exactly how much is in the trust fund. So it wasn't stolen. That's just politicians trying to distract you so they can kick the can down the road and eventually give it to their buddies on Wall Street. So Lady Rochelle, according to the Senior Citizens League, a nonpartisan advocacy group, they are expecting the 2026 Social Security COLA to be about 2.4%. Do you agree with their projection? No. Yeah, they're just guesstimating. What it is what how it's calculated. It's based on the third quarter of this year as compared to the third quarter of last year. So what they do, Department of Labor just takes a basket of goods, and the issue is what basket of goods they take. But anyway, they take a basket of goods, and in last year, and they say, okay, this basket of goods costs $100, and then they take the same basket of goods in basically September of this year, and they say, okay, how much did that basket of goods increase? It increased 2.4%. So there we'll give a 2.4% COLA. So yeah, nobody knows what that basket of goods is going to look like in September. Maybe for now, if they did it now, it would be 2.4%, but that has no relevance to anything whatsoever. So yeah, but social media people out there like to talk about that on a daily basis. COLA for next year with this, COLA for next year, to get more clicks and stuff like that. So anyway, there's that. All right, I'm running out of time. I'm over an hour, so let's make this last question-ish. Medicare Advantage Part C, without Medicaid, since all this drama going on now with the cuts to Medicaid, so Medicare Part C has transportation for the disabled without Medicaid. Yeah, Medicare Advantage is also called Medicare Part C, which I don't like it being called that because it sounds like it's an official government program. It's not. These are private insurance companies. But anyway, so you've got Medicare Advantage, and if you have Medicaid, then having Medicare and Medicaid means you're dual eligible. And when you're dual eligible, you can get those dual complete plans, those extra dual advantage plans with all the extra grocery cards and stuff like that, if it's available in your area, and transportation and stuff. But if you lose Medicaid, then you lose all that. You have to go back to just a basic, a less robust, a less benefits focused Medicare Advantage plan. So yeah, once you lose Medicaid, then yeah, a lot of unfortunate things happen, and yeah. So you can reach out to Chapter, and they can see if your Medicare Advantage plan is going to cease, whether you're Medicaid, whether they're going to stop paying for your $185 for your Medicare Part B and all the rest of it. And then if you do have to switch from a dual complete plan to just a regular plan, they can see what's available in your area. So, all right, over an hour, and apologize for I didn't get to as many questions, but check out the website and give me any response. I'm going to put the videos up there on the website. Anything y'all can do to help, I appreciate it. Y'all take care. Have a beautiful, beautiful day. And please, please, please take care of each other. Take care.